We're watching the tropics, and we talked about this month starting to get active, perhaps seeing our first major hurricane of the Atlantic hurricane season.
Yes.
With this next one, Erin. I got a text message from my friend Erin yesterday. She's like, "What? We have a storm named after me?" Yes,
Yeah.
my friend.
So it's a little bit of good news, bad news.
Yeah.
Bad news, we have a tropical storm, but we all knew that that was the direction we were going with this. The good news is now we know the starting point, because we could have been in this situation where all week we are waiting for this tropical storm to form, but it's formed at a quick pace. Let's go ahead and take a live look outside. We got Puerto Rico on the right, Florida on the left. Y'all are both off to a good start. But these are both areas that we'll have to watch very closely, because now that we have Erin on the map, the question is, where is it going to go? In the near term, a lot of good agreement.
Yeah.
Past that, I mean, it's far out. That's part of these main development region hurricanes. It takes so long to work its way across the basin that there is going to be some gray area towards the end of the forecast.
And as we watch that closely, at least you have a little more prep time as we get closer to each day, and that prep is going to change day by day, right, Britta? We were talking about this with Stephen McLeod behind the scenes. It's taken a bit of a southerly track. That's a bit of a concern. You see the other areas that we're watching, tropical downpours across the southeast, which we'll break down in just a moment. But Erin's taking all of the headlines right now. Coming off the coast of Africa, it's that wave we were watching just last week, and when we were talking about that second one, this is it. And right now, it's got a lot of things working in its favor. I mean, it may struggle a bit for just a day or two, but after that, everything is working in its favor for it to intensify and become a pretty big storm.
Every 24 hours, this thing looks more and more organized and better on satellite. I mean, yesterday was a huge difference to the day prior. This morning, as the sun is coming up over the Atlantic basin, it looks so symmetrical. So, I mean, we're already starting to see better organization within this, starting to see some thunderstorm development on the south side, which is where we were battling, some wind shear, and we had dry air as well. So this is looking more put together than where we were sitting yesterday morning. I will say this storm has all the makings of being a very big storm, and Craig's going to get to the forecast in just a moment. But to get you up to date on the inhibiting factors, we do still have the dust. And so this likely will stay a tropical storm, and the development will be slow at first. But once we get past these marginal conditions, the dusty air, the wind shear, this thing will start to take off. Now, we are starting to see the moisture levels come up, which is not a shocker. Tropical storms, hurricanes, they were made out of a group of thunderstorms. So as these thunderstorms mature and grow, the moisture actually gets produced by the thunderstorm itself, and it pushes against that dry air, and the dry air gets pushed out of the system. It's kind of like this cool ecosystem feedback that occurs within these tropical systems. Still a touch of wind shear down to the south, but I got to tell you, on satellite, it is looking healthier than what we had yesterday. So despite these inhibiting factors, we're doing quite well.
Yeah. Also, a lot of warm water to work with there as well. Hey, we also want to talk about some of the short-term limiting factors as well, because when we talk about this, this is something we watch closely now. Before Erin formed into a tropical storm, the system hit the Cabo Verde Islands. It left some significant damage to roads. Look at that. Infrastructure and vehicles. And unfortunately, officials are reporting several deaths on the island. So when you look at that, it's just tough to see. Some computer model agreement that this will continue to move west on that southerly trajectory out through the Caribbean. There's the path as we look ahead. Expected to intensify, become a hurricane, lower category 1 by the time we get into Thursday morning. Then we watch, and once it makes it through all of that dust, makes it into that environment where it could get more favorable environment for further development and strengthening. This is something we watch closely here, because what's happening? Well, take a look at what we want to talk about. This is right through Friday, right? Erin is moving south of this area of high pressure. We've got one that we're watching over the southeast as well. Now, there is some confidence here that this would go closer to the Caribbean islands, perhaps a little farther north, but now with that southerly track, we want to see how close it's going to be. Let's break this down day by day, Britta. Here's Tuesday, area of high pressure. We still got one over here. This area of low pressure helps to create a bit of a dip in the right between the two, so it kind of opens up the path, that little kink, if you will. So we could see some northwesterly movement. However, we do have a lot of the Caribbean to watch on the southerly side of this. Now we go into Friday and into Saturday. We watch to see perhaps category at this point 2. Where does it go at this point? It's still an open playing field. I think everyone on the eastern seaboard needs to pay attention to this closely. Stay with us for sure. Anyone in Puerto Rico, of course, the Lesser Antilles, portions of Hispaniola need to watch this closely. Confidence is high to about Puerto Rico, and then
that's when we go all over the board. I mean, you can tell that some of these outliers even get close closer to Florida. So, this is why we were saying yesterday, it's so important to know your starting point before you get to your ending point, because now this starting point has led to that southerly push on the track, which does open up more concern for not only the Caribbean islands, but also for possibly the East Coast. Craig is circling the intensity of this forecast. Can we just pause and talk about that? So we do have the upper end of the computer models pumping out a Cat 3, but I will tell you, intensity is very hard for computer models to nail, especially considering we're at the beginning of the season. So we have a pocket of extremely warm water that is north of the islands to the east of Florida, and that is untapped territory. So although right now some of the max intensity forecasts are pumping out a Cat 3, I do want to be honest that it could be stronger than that given the water temperatures. I mean, look at that, 86 degrees. The Bahamas has temperatures close to the 90s. So it is worth watching very closely, because I do think that Category 3 is probably, a generous low-end ball when it comes to intensity on this.
Yeah, of course, and the E-name typically happens August 29th. Here we are dealing with the E-name right now. By the way, Fox Weather Hurricane Specialist Brian Norcross, he's going to weigh in this morning at 9 o'clock Eastern Time on Weather Command.
Interested to hear his thoughts.
I know, it's so true, and he's always great. He's our weather expert, been around forever. We're lucky to have him, and share him with you here at Fox Weather.